Welcome to the debut of the Jamie Bordas Show. We're going to present to you a local talk show that's going to discuss each week business, politics, law, sports, current events on a local, regional, and national basis. Each week we'll have a champion of the week in the community. We'll have a legal tip, a quote of the day, we'll present a sports person of the week, and more importantly, we'll have a guest each week who's going to discuss with us things about their life, things going on here in the Valley, and things around our nation. Excited to be here, and the first thing for this week's show, of course, will be our community champion of the week. This week I'm very excited about it because it's someone that I know on a personal level, and that's Brenda Miller, the Circuit Clerk of Courts here in Ohio County. Brenda does so many things around the area. She's involved, of course, as a circuit clerk in things around the state, helping other circuit clerks. She's been awarded as the Circuit Clerk of the Year by various groups, including the West Virginia Association for Justice. But this week, more importantly, she was the chairman of the committee for the Ohio Valley Friends of the WVU Medicine Children's Gala. And this is an organization that helps transport children from the area down to WVU so they can receive specialized care, and allows them to receive the care, begin receiving the care while they're being transported. And they had the annual gala up at Oglebay last weekend. Brenda presented the under the Big Top theme, and people had a great time. We were one of the sponsors of it, my law firm, and we talked to a lot of people that were there. I couldn't make it because of one of my kids' many events that they oftentimes have, but everybody that was there told me it was a great time. So congratulations to Brenda Miller, the Circuit Clerk here in Ohio County, for being the Community Champion of the Week, and to her committee as well for doing a great job with that event. Next, let's turn our attention to our legal tip of the week. And this actually comes from Ken Seibert. Ken is a current Ohio County Schools bus driver that I know well, and he sent me a message on Facebook talking about a new law that's been passed actually that pertains to school buses. And I appreciate Ken sending me this tip. As many of you know or should know, you're not allowed to pass a school bus when it's stopped and has the sign out to the side. People oftentimes don't realize that this includes when you're on a four-lane highway, such as National Road here in Wheeling, that even if a bus is stopped and on coming the opposite direction, when that stop sign is out, you have to stop whether you're going past the bus or coming the opposite direction. But the new law is that now bus drivers can take a picture of a vehicle that is passing them when the sign is out, and the owner of that vehicle, regardless of whether they were the driver or not, the owner of the vehicle will receive a penalty, including fine, if the picture is taken and presented to the police that the person passed the school bus. So something you should always do, stop at school buses, but now the penalty is even stiffer, and not just on the driver, but on the owner of the vehicle as well. So make sure that your kids are aware of that law, make sure they know they're supposed to stop when they see school buses, make sure your family members are aware. The last thing we want is to see a young child get hurt. I've actually over the years have represented a couple of kids who have been injured when vehicles passing a school bus have struck them, and can have very, very serious consequences, of course. So let's be careful there. And thanks, Ken, for the legal tip. Anyone else that may have a tip they want to be presented on the show, of course, can send me a message. You can on Twitter at Jamie Bordas, and I'd be happy to discuss an idea that you may have for the legal tip of the week. Turn our attention now also to the quote of the week, and this is something that I got out of a mediation that my dad and I had a few months back in our Pittsburgh office. There was someone that was a lawyer who was a representative of a large corporation that had flown in from Atlanta for the mediation, and we were talking a little bit about ourselves and about our firm, and at some point my dad said, I'm not meaning to brag here, but I just want you to understand that we're very experienced, we've gotten great results for our clients, and we know what we're doing. And that gentleman from Atlanta looked at us and said, "It's a sorry dog that can't wag its own tail." And that quote has kind of stuck with me since then, and so I decided to make that the quote of the week here for the first show, because sometimes it is uncomfortable to talk about yourself, but sometimes you do need to, especially if you're on a job interview or a meeting with someone in an important setting and you need to tell them about yourself. It is important to be able to feel comfortable doing that in the appropriate settings. So our quote of the week is, "It's a sorry dog who can't wag his own tail." Turning now to some community events, WeLunk is an online news publication that has been around for a little over a year now and is actually launching some new publications, but great community resource. They talk about various things that oftentimes aren't covered in the mainstream media. One of my favorites was a recent article, I think that was republished, by my good friend Josh Wack, who I grew up with, and that was his piece on the Elm Grove de Carlos and what it's like to go in there and wait for your number to be called and to be looking forward to getting those slices of pizza, not knowing what the method is. So great job by Josh on that. Also like to give a shout out today to Panhandle Custom Homes, Kitchens, and Baths for the set construction here on our set. They did a wonderful job. Bruce down there does a fantastic job. They do a great job with homes, kitchens, and baths, so give them a call. Wheeling Central Steak Fry coming up next Saturday night. I'm the chairperson of that. It's at the Wheeling Park Ice Rink from 6 to 10. And also the YMCA Light of the Valley Luncheon next Wednesday at the White Palace. And that will be held at noontime. Something near and dear to my heart, not only because I'm the president of the board of directors, but also because this year's honorees are my mom and dad. Very honored that the board decided to recognize them in that way. And our guest today on today's show will actually be my dad. When we come back from commercial break, he'll be joining us, and we'll look forward to what he has to say about his experiences living here in the Valley and a whole host of other things. So stay with us on the Jamie Bordas Show. We'll be with you in just a minute.
You can love what you drive.
During the summer clearance event, get up to $11,000 off or 0% for 72 months on most Ram models. Drive away in a Ram 1500 Crew Cab 4x4 for only $229 per month. Save over $8,000 with 20% off a new Dodge Charger or Chrysler 300. Credit problems? No problem. Get rates as low as 3.9% on selected new models.
You can love what you drive at Sunset.
So, how was your first day?
Mom. So, Josh asked me about you.
Daddy's home. Go get him.
For your home, for your life, for more than 50 years. The Hardwood Specialists. DeNoon Lumber.
Welcome back to the debut of the Jamie Bordas Show. This part of our show will be one of my favorites each week. I hope it's one of yours too. And that's the portion where I have a guest on the show to talk about their life, their experiences here in the Valley. And I'm really excited about today's first guest because it's my dad, Jim Bordas. He's always been able to take care of me when I needed to be taken care of, and today's no different. And Dad, thanks for being the first guest on the show.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Jamie.
You know, a lot of people know that you're a lawyer here in the Valley, but you've been doing it for 44 years now. And people may wonder, why keep on doing it? Why not retire at this point in your life? You've been very successful, done well, and so why keep at it?
Well, I still feel that I can do it, plus I get a lot of pleasure from it, and I still think that I can help a lot of people. I think a lot of people still call me for important issues. People have been seriously injured, people who have had issues before them that perhaps other people can't solve, and I like helping. I also like being with you and your mother and the other great lawyers that we have in our law firm.
You know, over the years, you've had the opportunity to represent, obviously, probably thousands of people now at this point. And there's some cases that they're all rewarding in their different ways, but some are more rewarding than others. But you know, as a whole, you know, what's the most rewarding thing that you get out of being the type of law or the type of lawyer that you are that represents individuals?
Well, I think it, again, is helping people. We settled a significant case just yesterday for a lot of money, but the money was necessary in order to help the lady that was horribly injured to get on with her life and to provide for the medical needs that she was going to need for the rest of her life and to make life a little more comfortable. So I think it's good to be able to do the right thing, to provide a successful result, and to help people. It not only pays well, but it makes you feel awfully good when you're able to do that.
Well, I remember you telling me when I first started out, and it's been 16 years now, that if you do this because you want to help people, you're probably going to be very successful and you'll make a lot of money. If you get into it for just the money, you probably won't make any at all, and you'll have a lousy career. So, and I've tried to remember that, but I think those were good words, and what you just said, kind of hits right on that.
Well, I think you got to do it for everything. I think you have to do it for the right reason, and the right reason for us is helping people. It's important that you win, and we do everything that we can do, of course, as you know, to win, but win ethically. And that's what we do. We devote a lot of resources and time and the best people in the firm to do these cases that we do not only here in Wheeling, West Virginia, but also throughout the tri-state and in many cases throughout the country.
Well, of course, you know, some of your cases have made national news over the years. Remember when I was just a young kid and Ed Bradley coming to our home. You know, when you had the case that was featured on 60 Minutes, where you represented the women from the coal mine who took on the mine because they were looking at them through a peephole in the showers and when they were changing and doing things like that, and made national headlines, and rightfully so, because of the cause that you took on for those women, and been on CNN with Connie Chung on different issues, had cases featured on Inside Edition. So you have gotten some national exposure from those things.
Well, those have been big cases, and they were cases where the little guys were able to take on the big corporations and big law firms, the biggest law firms in this state and some of the biggest law firms in the country. And we achieved success and got good results for our clients, and that was important to us, and I think to the region too.
Yeah, I think so as well. And of course, now the firm, you know, over the years, you know, has grown, and now 4 offices in 3 states, 19 attorneys, including one in Washington, D.C., and you know, getting some national exposure like that, of course, helps those things. But what do you attribute the growth to, and why is that important to people here in the Valley?
Well, I think growth in itself is not necessarily a good thing, but I think growth in the way that we've experienced it is because we grew by hiring highly skilled, competent lawyers. We've now interviewed Notre Dame quite a bit, and I consider the kids that graduate from Notre Dame some of the best kids in the country. They're well-rounded, they're smart, and they're hard workers. And we've got 6 or 7 Notre Dame graduates now in our firm. The WVU kids too that we've gotten, most of the graduates from WVU make up our law firm, and they've been outstanding too, but we've gotten the best of the WVU graduates in my opinion. So I think growth in itself is not necessarily good, but when you got 19 lawyers who are all very competent and who are the best in the state, I think that makes a law firm that can take on anybody in any state, and we've done that, and we can go up against any large law firm, any corporation, and get great results.
I like to have a good time with the lawyers in the firm also sometimes. I mean, had a bowling party for them the other day, and take them up to of course, we've got partnerships with the Pirates and the Steelers. You take them to the games there sometimes, and I think they especially the younger lawyers that are from out of town, really enjoy that time with you and respect that you do that with them.
Well, you asked me about one of the things that's great about still practicing law and still being here. It's being around you and the young kids in our firm who weren't all that young now. They're in their 40s, but young to me. And it's fun learning from them and listening to them and hearing their stories. So it's kept me a lot younger. And of course, I love being with Linda, your mother, my wife, and that's been a great, one of the greatest things in my lifetime is being in a courtroom with both you and Linda.
Yeah, there's been some of my best experiences as well. Always fun to get to do something like that, whether you're playing sports, whether it's work, whatever it may be. When you get to do something with people that you care about, that you love, it's always that much more enjoyable. So we're going to have to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking to Jim Bordas about his career, and we'll turn to maybe some of the other things that he's involved in here in the community, some of the charitable works, organizations he's been involved with us. So stay with us here on the Jamie Bordas Show, and we'll be right back.
Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration has been restoring homes after disasters for nearly 4 decades. Through that experience, we present Panhandle Custom Homes, Kitchens, and Baths. We handle your entire project, from concept to completion, working with you every step of the way. From the budget-minded upgrade to a fully custom remodel, you can trust the Panhandle name. Panhandle Custom Homes, Kitchens, and Baths. Welcome home.
Every day, more than 70,000 puppies and kittens are born in the United States. Just one female can contribute more than 2 million offspring in 8 years. At the Tiffany DeLess Spay and Neuter Clinic, we are trying to help. We offer reduced cost services to income-qualified families from all over the Ohio Valley. We understand that the cost of owning a pet can be overwhelming, and that stress multiplies when they do. Call the Tiffany DeLess Spay and Neuter Clinic or visit us online to find out if we can help you.
Welcome back to the debut of the Jamie Bordas Show. We've been speaking with my dad, Jim Bordas, who's our guest on today's show, and we'll continue doing that during this portion of the show, but we'll turn our attention a little bit more to some of the other things besides the actual work. And, you know, when we're talking about those things, You know, first of all, you've received a lot of awards. I mean, super lawyers, best lawyers, the top lawyer in the state of West Virginia by several different times that you've received that recognition. WVAJ's Member of the Year. You know, what do you attribute that type of success that you've had over the years to?
Well, I think hard work has a lot to do with it. I think good instincts. I had the good fortune of marrying very well, and Linda's been a tremendous asset to my life and my career, and my strong Christian faith, my belief in God and Jesus, who I owe pretty much everything to and give him all the greater glory and credit. So the combination of those things.
Well, you know, and let's talk about that a little bit because, you know, I know important to you is not just the legal work you do, but also the good work that you do and things in the community, you know, with charitable organizations, with youth sports teams, and you received some awards for that as well. I mean, the Youth Services System Good Samaritan Award that both you and my mom, Linda Bordas, received a couple years back. Gotten the Pro Bono Firm of the Year award, and that's unusual for a firm of the size of yours to receive the Pro Bono Firm of the Year, and people might not understand that.
Well, I think we're the smallest firm, I know we're the smallest firm that has ever been given that award in the state of West Virginia. It's typically large firms like Steptoe & Johnson, Jackson Kelly, and so forth, having lawyers write down the hours that they spend doing charitable and community service work. We got it one year, and I'm not sure how we got it. We don't keep a list, but we were given that award, and that's one of the awards that I cherish most in our law firm.
Yeah, you know, I know also you were very happy and pleased to receive the Governor's Service Award, you know, a year or two back. One of only, I think, 2 businesses in the state of West Virginia to receive that award that year, and that was a nice recognition too by the Governor of the state of West Virginia.
Yeah, we were appreciative of that. The Good Samaritan Award meant actually more to me because that is from the Youth Services, and that meant a lot because we're very active in the soup kitchen and the things that the Youth Services do with troubled children. Linda's been on the board forever, and I think they do such great work. I was very happy to receive that and honored to receive that award.
And of course, next week you'll be receiving the YMCA's Light of the Valley Award, the 10th anniversary of that award, and you, along with my mom, your wife Linda, and she will be the first female recipient of that award. So quite an honor there too when you look back over the years of people like Bishop Schmidt that received that award, Randy Worrells, Bob Contragero, Bob Robinson, Doc Viglietta, and among many others that have received that award. So I know that's quite an honor as well.
Well, it's humbling. It helps to have the kid that's the president of the board probably, who probably had something to do with making that award, but that helps. But I'm very honored to be in that group. I think there are many people in our county that could be named recipients, and certainly are Light of the Valley. I go to church quite often, and I look around that church, and I see many people there that I think are almost saintly, who easily could be recognized for Lights of the Valley. I think they are. So I'm very happy to get that, and very honored and humbled, and probably not deserving, but Linda is.
Well, despite me being president of the board, I want you to know I was not the one that nominated you for that. In fact, the board was very strong on that one, and I was not involved, even though I, of course, think you're very deserving, and as his mom as well. But you also, recently spoke at the NAACP State Convention, which was held in Wheeling for the first time in quite some time. And I know race relations have been something that's been important to you over the years. Having gone to school down in Charleston, where you saw some of those things growing up, and then as you continued to practice law, and you've represented some minorities over the years and done good things for them, and that was important to you. I know that you were on that panel with the NAACP.
Well, it's very important, and I look in the mirror. Sometimes I think I'm black, and I look in the mirror and I see white, and I think, because my soul, I think, is the soul of a African American, and the very first term paper I did in my life was on Booker T. Washington, who was from Malden, West Virginia, who was a black man that later founded Tuskegee Institute. I then later helped with some of the civil rights movements when I was growing up in the 60s. And on my wall in the office in St. Clairsville, we have a picture of Martin Luther King. James Baldwin, who wrote The Fire Next Time, was a very important figure in the civil rights movement. I cherished him. And today, looking back, one of our neighbors, Jamie, that you remember, was Clyde Thomas, who I thought was a very interesting honorable black man that lived next door who I admired and cherished. So a lot of the people in my life, including the man that was responsible probably for me to go into law school, Herman Kennedy, who was my business law professor, they were all black. And I never really thought about it until I was standing in that office one day and looked on the wall, and every single person on the wall in St. Clairsville was black. So the NAACP and the black community means a lot to me, and I was very happy that I got to be on the panel, and that Sharon Eubanks, the incredible lawyer that works with us out of D.C., was a featured speaker. That was a big honor.
Well, I appreciate you being here today. We're going to have to take a break, but I think it's important for people to understand kind of who you are, because you've done so many things for this community for so many years. So I really appreciate you being the first guest on this show, Dad.
Well, thanks, Jamie. It's my honor, my privilege, and it's always nice to see your child doing as well as you're doing, and of course it's quite a pleasure to work with you every single day.
We need to take a break. We'll see you again in a few minutes after we come back from break.
Take home the gold today in a nicer, newer car from Bob Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac.
Now at Bob Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac, lease an all-wheel drive Chevy Trax for $0 down and just $219 per month. Or how about a Chevy Cruze LT for $0 down, only $229 per month.
Come to Bob Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac, part of Robinson Auto Group. We're the dealer for the people.
Fighting for homeowners.
Fighting for workers.
Fighting for children.
Fighting for mineral owners.
Fighting for patients.
Fighting for policyholders.
Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
Welcome back to the debut of the Jamie Bordas Show. During this portion of the show, we'll be talking all things sports, but primarily football, because football season is upon us and football is king here in the Ohio Valley. Exciting time of year always, but some sad news this week out of Morgantown. Local product Brendan Ferns, a Mountaineer player, along with his brother Michael Ferns. Brendan actually suffered a season-ending knee injury this week. I've had a serious knee injury myself in the past. I know it can be very difficult. Brendan was really moving up on the depth chart at WVU, and disappointing to hear that he's not going to be able to be on the field this year, but certainly prayers for him for a speedy recovery, and good luck to his brother Michael this year as he wears the Mountaineer uniform, and will be playing fullback for the Mountaineers, and is also moving up the depth chart very quickly himself after transferring in from Michigan. So good luck to both of the Ferns. Good luck to the Mountaineers this year. Also, this year, we'll be talking about the Steelers just in the preseason here. But preseason is preseason. And that's something from coaching football myself at Wheeling Central Catholic and at other places before that. You have to recognize that whether it's a high school scrimmage, whether it's a professional preseason game, they're not regular games. People look at them and say, gosh, the team may not be very good, or they got blown out in this preseason game. Coaches look at different things. They don't show everything. They want to see what different players can do. They know what their best players can do, don't need to see them as long. So for those Steelers fans that are out there worrying about what may be happening or not happening, don't worry. Don't get too low if the preseason game doesn't go well. Don't get too high if it goes great. It is just the preseason. So hang on. The Steelers should do good things this year. Have a couple players that are out due to making some poor choices. Martavis Bryant, of course, out. Le'Veon Bell looks like going to be out for a few games. And they've got to make some better choices, something that we try to always tell kids that we work with, kids that we're around, make good, solid decisions, or there are consequences. So hopefully those things will come around and those guys will learn from it. But the Steelers, great nucleus, of course, great offense, Big Ben, Antonio Brown, still have them there, and be expecting big things from them this year. I've enjoyed the partnership that I and my firm have with the Steelers, and looking forward to seeing them do well this year. Speaking of Pittsburgh sports, of course, the Pirates are still trying to make a run at that wild card. Probably not going to catch the Cubs for winning the division. The Cubs are just too far out in front of everybody, but wild card is still in the possibility. Of course, the Pirates have gotten into the playoffs the last few years here, and but haven't been able to advance much further than like they wanted to. But if they can sneak in there, and these pieces they've put together through the trades that have been completed right near the trade deadline can work out, then you never know. They can get into the playoffs. Anything can happen with anybody once you get into the playoffs. So hold out hope there, Pirates fans. There's still a chance, and we'll continue to keep an eye on the Pirates in the weeks to come and see how they're doing. One of the things we'll do each week here on the show is award a Sports Person of the Week. And this week I'm really excited about that because we had a young local guy that qualified for the U.S. Amateur in golf. Very difficult to do. Only 300 people in the country qualify for the U.S. Amateur. And this week, Thad O'Beckney II actually participated in the U.S. Amateur in Michigan. And what a great accomplishment for Thad to go up there in Michigan, get to compete against the best amateur golfers in the country. Here he is with his caddy. And so congratulations to Thad O'Beckney II. He's our Sports Person of the Week this week. And I've actually played golf with Thad. I'm not a very good golfer. I go out and usually do it for charity. We sponsor a ton of scrambles at my law firm. And so occasionally I'll go out there. This year only once, unfortunately, but last year just once as well. But I'll go out there and try to hit it around a little bit. And I've played with Thad. And boy, for a little guy, he really hits the ball, and he's got a great putter. Putter maybe wasn't as sharp this week at the amateur as it might normally be, but still, what a great accomplishment to get there. So congratulations to Thad O'Beckney II, Sports Person of the Week. If you know someone you think would be a great candidate to be the Sports Person of the Week on the Jamie Bordas Show, get in touch with me. You can call my office. You can send me a message on Twitter at Jamie Bordas. Send me a message on Facebook. Do whatever you need to do, but let me know because I'd be happy to consider everybody out there because I follow as much as I can in the world of sports here in the Valley, but there may be somebody that's accomplished something great that I don't know about, and it'd be great to be able to recognize them here on the show. The same goes for our Community Champion of the Week and legal tips and a quote of the week. Anything that you have that you might like to see on the show here, feel free to reach out. I'd love to be able to include it on the show, recognize you for nominating the person or the quote or whatever it may be, the legal tip, if it's included here on the show. I look forward to being with you each week. We'll continue to have those segments on the show. We'll have a guest each week on the show. Looking forward to being able to speak with different community leaders, business people around the Valley about how they got to the positions they are, what they're doing today, what they expect out of their business, from their businesses to grow. We'll talk to political leaders. Look forward to talking to maybe even the mayor of Wheeling if we can get him on the show, or some of the new council members. But it will be great to be with all of you each week here on WTRF. I'm excited to continue doing this show, and we'll see you again next week on the Jamie Bordas Show. Thanks for being with us.